Sometimes, single or two-word phrases do not accurately capture the description of the performer of an action, the subject, more especially when the performer is not known to the speaker. It is in such situations that we make use of noun clauses to provide more details about the subject, which brings us to the study of noun clauses in English. What are noun clauses? Noun clauses are dependent clauses, clauses that cannot stand on their own to express a complete sense, meaning or thought, that perform the same functions as nouns. That is, they are dependent clauses that are often used in place of nouns in sentences, due to their similarities in function. Take for instance, what he said to the doctor confuses most professionals to this day. The example above is a full sentence, also known as an independent clause, and embedded in it is a noun clause at the subject position. As earlier stated, noun clauses are dependent clauses and so cannot express meaning independently. Hence, we have to place them within independent clauses to add more context to them. At the subject position, we have a noun clause, what he said to the doctor. This whole section is a noun clause and it performs the same function as a regular noun by naming, but in this case, it takes a descriptive approach by describing without clearly specifying. What this means is that, the noun clause describes the subject of the sentence, but it does not specifically tell us what the name of the subject is. Besides the fact that the clause is lodged at the subject position of the sentence, how else do we identify it as a noun clause? Structure of noun clauses. To identify a noun clause, you need to, first of all, look out for its structure. The structure of a noun clause follows this pattern. It is introduced by a relative pronoun. Relative pronouns are words like who, whom, what, which, that, etc. We use these pronouns to introduce noun clauses. The relative pronoun is then followed by a sentence consisting of, compulsorily, a verb and a subject, or a verb and a subject as well as other grammatical elements. From the example given earlier, the noun clause was introduced by a relative pronoun, what, followed by a sentence containing a subject, he, a verb said, and other grammatical elements, to the doctor. Now you must understand that not all noun clauses have the same structure or follow this pattern. For instance, that he came still surprises us. The sentence above contains a noun clause at subject position which is, that he came, and as you can observe, we only have a relative pronoun, that, a subject, he, and a verb, came, and nothing else following them, so this goes to show that the compulsory or most important elements of a noun clause are, relative, pronouns, subjects, and verbs. Every other possible elements are optional and can be omitted. Another way we can say for sure that a clause is a noun clause is by substituting it in its entirety for a noun. Take for instance, what they saw yesterday traumatized them for days. As you already can tell, the noun clause is, what they saw yesterday. Now substituting it for a noun, it would read something like this, the accident traumatized them for days. You can see that the sentence still makes absolute sense and expresses a complete meaning, right? This shows that what we had earlier at the subject position was a noun clause for two main reasons. 1. It was at the subject position performing the same duties as a noun, and 2. It could be substituted for a noun without the sentence becoming nonsensical, or losing its meaning. Functions of nouns clauses. Like nouns, noun clauses perform the functions of subject, object, and even appositives in sentences. As subject, noun clauses perform the duties of subject when they appear at the subject position of sentences. Take for instance, that you saw her does not mean we believe it. As object. You may not have realized this by now, but noun clauses can very much appear at the receiving end of sentences. Take for instance, the teacher punished those who came to school late. The noun clause at the object position, those who came to school late, can be substituted for a noun in which case it would read, the teacher punished late students. This is how we can tell it is a noun clause. as appositives. We can have noun clauses, acting as appositives when they appear right after regular nouns at subject position, serving the purpose of giving more information about them for better understanding. Take for instance, the man who came last week is a fine young man. You can see that with the noun clause, we get to know more about the man in the sentence, but observe the sentence without the noun clause. The man is a fine young man. It still makes sense, right? But we know nothing about him, except for the fact that the speaker claims he is a fine young man. So noun clauses play very important roles when it comes to providing more information about nouns without specifying them. They describe the nouns to give us a better understanding of them. Noun clauses are identified by their structures, as well as their ability to be substituted for regular nouns in sentences. They perform the same duties as regular nouns by acting as subjects, objects, or appositives in sentences. Understanding noun clauses will better inform you on how to use them in writing to establish more context for persons or objects alike. See you soon.